Hello, scientists. So today I want to review some of the answers you guys came up with for some of the videos that you watched. So you watched videos of ice cream melting, of water freezing, and of a candle burning. And I asked you, do you think that those changes are reversible? That means that they can be changed back, or irreversible? They can't be changed back. And you guys did an awesome job answering these questions. I just want to make sure we review so we're all on the same page. So let's start with ice cream. First of all, what a cool video, right? I love watching that ice cream melt. It just feels so soothing in my brain to watch. Most of you told me that the ice cream melting was definitely reversible. If we took that melted ice cream and we put it back into a freezer, it would freeze and turn back into solid ice cream. However, some of you pointed out that it would not be the same shape anymore. It would freeze into whatever shape of the container that we put the melted ice cream in. So if you thought of that, that was really, really good thinking. The next video that you might have watched was the ice. There was a glass of water. It was put outside and then it froze and it turned into solid ice. You told me that that was something that was reversible. That's a reversible change because if we took that frozen glass of water and we brought it back inside or someplace warm and added some heat to it, we know that the ice would melt and turn back into a liquid water. Now, for the most interesting one, the last video was of a candle burning. And this one was a little bit tricky, so I want to talk more about it. The candle burning is actually an irreversible change. Let's talk about why. So when you first get a candle, it probably will look something like this, right? The wax is full. Oh, it smells nice. The wax is filled almost to the top. You have a wick here. The wick is this little cloth part, the little rope that you're going to light with the lighter. So all of this is like this. When you burn this candle, something that you might notice is that the wax starts to melt. The wax melts and it melts and it melts. Now, if you burn the candle for a little while and your wax has started to melt and then you blow it out, walk away, you might notice that the wax will turn. It will go from melted wax, liquid wax, back into solid wax that looks like this again. That's a reversible change, right? The wax melted a little bit and then it turned back into a solid. But the longer you keep the candle burning, like in the video that you saw, that wax starts to go away. So your candle might start out filled with wax all the way to the top, and then eventually it's going to start to look something like this, or maybe even all the way down to the bottom, the wax is all gone. What happened to the wax? Well, when the wax melts, it turns into a liquid. But as it continues to burn, as the candle continues to get hotter and hotter, that liquid wax turns into vapor and it actually evaporates out of the candle and mixes with the air. And once it turns into a gas, we can't get that back. And so that's when this becomes an irreversible change, because that gas that went into the air, I can't go and search around my house and find that and put it back in this candle. When this candle is empty, this candle is empty, and Mr. Mouth's got to recycle the container, right? I'm not going to get that wax back. So this change is irreversible. Another irreversible change that happens in a candle when we light it is with the wick. When I light this, right now this wick is beautiful, it's fresh, it's new, it's completely white, and it's this size. But as the wick burns, it turns brown, and eventually it gets smaller and smaller, and it actually starts to go away because the wick is burning. When something is burning, that's a chemical change. We're going to learn more about that later this week. But when something is burning, it's an irreversible change. We can't get it back. We can't unburn it. If I take a piece of paper and I stick it in the fire and it burns all up into ashes, I can't get that piece of paper back. That piece of paper is gone, right? That's an irreversible change. It's something I can't change back. So to review, ice cream melting, reversible. We put it in the freezer, we make it colder, it will turn back into a solid. Water freezing, definitely reversible. We can just melt the ice and we know it will turn back into water. But that candle burning is an irreversible change because once the wax melts and gets even hotter, it's going to turn into a gas and go away forever. And that wick burning is another irreversible change. I hope that you learned a little bit about candles. And if you have more questions about this, I'm going to attach an article that you can read. You're probably going to want to read it with a grown-up though, because there's some language in there that might be a little bit tricky for second graders to read on their own. You can also ask your parents a little bit more about this and see if you can light some candles in your house to see what happens over a long period of time. See if you notice when that wax starts to melt and then stop it and see if it turns back to a solid. And then see if you can start to notice those candles in your house getting smaller and smaller. If you're going to do anything with candles at home, of course, though, you need to have the help of an adult, not an older brother or sister, a grown-up, an adult, because we know that anything that lights on fire could be hazardous in our house or in our home, and we have to be really, really careful with candles. So I hope that you learned something about changing matter, and I hope that you had fun learning about it with me. Bye for now.